All right, guys, so the next section, section 2.3, is slope-intercept form. So this is just going to kind of tie a few things we've already done, kind of tie it all together. So do you guys know what slope-intercept form is? I don't know why. Most kids can tell you what that is. They may not know at all what it means, but they can tell you y equals mx plus b. So if I asked you to find the slope of that line, what would you tell me the slope is? All right, we've got to find some nice points. Like there's a really clear one right there. One right there. So that's up 1, 2, 3 over 1. So 3 over 1. Does that line look negative to you? It's going up, so that's going to be positive. All right. So, well, if I went down, it would be down and back. So down and back is 2 negatives, which makes positive. So the equation for that one is y equals 3x plus 16. Can you determine the slope by looking at the equation then? You told me the slope was 3 over 1, or 3. And I'm telling you the equation is 3x plus 16. Where's the slope? It's right here, right? That's your slope. It's attached to the x. What was that equation you told me again? Y equals what? Mx plus b. What letter stands for slope? M, not y. M. All right, find the slope of that line. I find a nice point. And there's one. It's up 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 4 over 3. Positive, right? It's going uphill. All right. So the equation for that one's 4 over 3x, which is what we just said, plus 5. Where's the plus 5 come from? Where's the 5 come from? That is where it's hitting the y-axis. It's at 5. So that is your b. So slope-intercept form. The m is your slope. That's your rise over run, whatever number is with x. And then the number that's just by itself, not attached to anything, that's your y-intercept, meaning where does it cross the y-axis. Also, this is your starting point. Okay? This is my favorite way to graph because it is by far the fastest and the easiest. Okay? So that y-intercept is your starting point. We are no longer always going to start from 0 like everyone likes to do. You will find that y-intercept, you're going to plot it, and then from there, that's where you'll do your rise over run. Okay? All right, but real quick, just making sure we're good, find the slope and the y-intercept. So number 1, what is the slope of this line? The slope is 2, right? It's always mx plus b. So my m is 2, or in this case, it'd be 2 over 1, right? We need a rise over run. What's the y-intercept? We always use b for that. Is that 3. What about number 2? Where's the slope of that one? Negative 3 over 2. It's always the number with x. Where's my b? Negative 6. Yeah, we don't want to lose that sign in front. So if I'm thinking about graphing on this first one, I would go up 3 on the y-axis, put a point, and then from there I'd go up 2 and over 1. So that's my starting point. Down here, I would go down to negative 6, put a point, and then I would go down 3 and over 2. And we'll get practice. It's okay. What about the slope of that one? What do I have to do before I can tell what the slope is? I got to solve that for y. Yeah, I got it y by itself. So we're going to have 4y. If I move the 3x over here, what happens to it? Negative 3x plus 16. And then to get y by itself, divide by 4. Remember, we divide everything by 4. So to get y equals negative 3/4 x plus 4. So anytime you're graphing, we want to go ahead and get y by itself. It's going to make things a lot easier for us. So what's the slope then? Negative 3/4. That's my rise over run. and your y-intercept, or your b value, is 4. So got to get y by itself first. Okay, number 4. Find the slope and the y-intercept. So we need to get y by itself. So 5y equals, what happens to x when I move it over? Negative x plus 7. Divide by 5. Now, right here is where a lot of students will struggle. The negative x over 5. What does that mean? That's negative 1/5. Thank you. Remember, there's a 1 there. So negative 1/5 x plus, am I allowed to have that be a fraction? Yeah, I sure can. That's 7 over 5. So what is your slope? Negative 1/5. And your y-intercept is 7 over 5. Y-intercept, remember, that is your starting point. All right, we ready to start graphing these? Maybe? So graph using slope and y-intercept. So first I need to do what to that equation? I need to get y by itself. So I have negative 3y equals, what happens to 12 when I move it? It becomes negative 12. And then we divide everything by negative 3. So how do I write x over negative 3? Negative 1/3 x. And then negative 12 over negative 3 plus 4. All right, let's see how fast this is to graph comparing to like XY tables. Takes us some time, right? This is a lot faster. What's your y-intercept? Is that 4? That means from my start, I'm going to go up 4 and put a point. Right? That is your y-intercept, which is also your starting point. Okay? So that number on the end there, that should be the first point you make on the y-axis. And then my slope, my rise over run, is negative 1/3. Right? So rise over run is negative 1/3. So I'm going to, from my starting point, I'm going to go down 1 and over 3. Down 1 over 3. Instead of going down 1 and over 3, what else could I have done? I could make this negative on the bottom, right? I could do 1 over negative 3. Don't matter. I can go up 1 and then back 3. Up 1. Back. Yeah, if I keep going, I'm going to go ahead and just keep making lots of points on my line. And again, when we make our lines, don't just stop at your points, kind of extend it beyond and put your arrows on them. Do you guys remember learning how to graph like this? I hope. Yeah, I like graphing like this. These ones are I think they're pretty easy. All right, number 6. What do we got to do first? Y by itself. So 2y equals 6x. The positive 8 moves over there as negative 8. Divide everything by 2. So y equals what? Good. 3x minus 4. So where is your starting point or your y-intercept? Okay, that is your starting point. So I'm going to go down 4 and put my first point. What's your rise over run? Good. Rise over run equals 3 over 1. So from your starting point, I'm going to rise 3 and go over 1. Rise 3 over 1. Rise 3 over 1. Where else could I have went? Could go down 3 and over 1? Back 1. I could go back. Yeah, I could go down 3 and back 1. I got a little curve to it. But it's not a ruler, man. I'm terrible with straight lines. Are we doing okay? I don't want to oversimplify if we're not doing okay. Are we okay? Yes? No? Maybe? All right, number 7. I just have to divide, right? I just have to divide. So y equals 3/4 x. So I start at 0. Good, there is no number. So I actually just start at 0. And then from my starting point, where are you going to go? Up 3/4. Ooh, not there. Yep, so up 3/4. Or I could go down 3 and back 4. Ooh, that might be the straightest line I think I've ever made. That's pretty good. I actually went through my points. Oh, come on. Does anybody else not get excited when you actually make a straight line? I'm like, hey, look at that. Did it. All right, guys, what about that one? I'd clear the fraction. Why would you clear the fraction? Now, again, some of you are like, oh, I thought we were done clearing fractions. Let's say you didn't notice it right away. Because, I mean, we have fractions with graphing. So it'd be 2/3 y equals, move the x over, negative x plus 1. Because otherwise, what am I doing from here? You're dividing by 2/3. And if you're comfortable dividing by 2/3, by all means, go right ahead. Me personally, I'm going to multiply everything by 3. Because 3 divided by 3 is 1, times 2 is 2y. 3 times negative x, negative 3x. And 3 times 1 is 3. Then I can divide everything by 2. If you're comfortable just dividing by 2/3, by all means, knock yourself out. You might confuse yourself there. So y equals negative 3/2x plus 3/2. Now, notice I'm not writing 3/2 down there. Because that's my starting point. Where's 3/2? What? 1.5. Okay, I need to recognize that this is 1.5 or 1.5. I don't care if you give it to me as a decimal. I'll even do decimal for you. 1.5. Because that's my starting point. You may not recognize where 3/2 is, but do you know where 1.5 is? Yeah, I know where 1.5 is. So my starting point is going to be up 1.5. Keep in mind the only one I want to be a rise over run is the slope. Slope you can leave top heavy because I need a rise, I need a run. If you flip that to a mixed number, it doesn't make any sense. Okay? So from my starting point of 1.5, I need to rise or go down 3 and then over 2. Now, be careful. I'm starting at a half, right? That's 1.5. So when I go down, I have to go in the middle, right, for the halves. So there's 1, 2, 3 over 2. It still has to be like in between those lines. Okay, don't jump to the nice, pretty numbers because that's going to be off. So I can go down 3 more and over 2. No, if your starting point's not on a perfect spot, none of them will be.
If you ever give it to top like that, how will you be able to find out what's the rest of the line?
Negative 3 over 2. I will not, I know what you're asking me. I will not give you one where I give you the graph and expect you to take it back. Does that make sense? If I give you the graph, they'll be nice, pretty ones. Okay, are you guys okay with this? Are you seeing where I'm staying on like in between parts? Okay. No. You got a lot of catching up to do. All right, number 9. Oh, what are those? Decimals. What should I probably do? I'm going to multiply them by 10. Yeah, multiply them by 10. 10 times 0.5 is going to change that to, try again. That's 5y. That's going to be 25. I'm going to multiply by 10 because I only have one spot on each of those. Pretty good. And that one's going to be 10x. Don't move them too many spots. Your numbers get huge. All right, what you going to do after you clear your decimals out? Good, let's add the 25. So 5y equals 10x. Negative 25 comes over as positive 25. Divide by 5. So y equals, so that one didn't turn out so bad. Where's your starting point? Where's the first point? 5. I'm going to go up 5. And then my rise over run is 2 over 1. You need that to be a fraction. So from that point, you're going to go up 2 and over 1. Up 2 over 1. Or you could have went down 2 and back 1. Are we doing okay? Y equals 7. So where's your starting point? 7. My starting point's up 7. What's your rise over run? There isn't any. So if I'm never rising, I'm just, is it a vertical line or horizontal? It's a horizontal line. If you're not sure, fall back on the XY table. Y equals 7. That means this is always 7, right? It doesn't matter what I would put here. So you could, if you're like not sure, because I remember vividly when I was your age, going back doing this, I'd forget, is it horizontal or vertical? I couldn't remember which one it was. Okay, fall back on the table. It's going to help you out. What about x equals negative 2? It's the same thing. It looks just like y equals 5. What? So where's my first point go? Negative 2 where? On which axis? On the x-axis. And then that's going to be your vertical line. Again, if you fall back on like, I'm not sure, it says x is negative 2, no matter what. Right? Just plug in some numbers. Okay? See what happens if you can't remember those. And then, oh, that's pretty. What do you do with that? Good, let's distribute first. So we get negative 6x plus 8. A lot of you have a tendency to lose those signs. Plus 4y equals 0. What's my goal? What am I trying to do? Good. I want y by itself, right? Y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to have 4y equals, when I move the negative 6x, no, it's not. I didn't move that. I'm going to move the negative 6x and it becomes positive. Take the positive 8 and move it. Becomes negative 8. Typically, I will always move things to keep my y positive. That way I don't have to worry about dividing by negative. All right, and then we can divide everything by 4. So y equals, good, 3 over 2x, simplifying that fraction, minus 2. Where's first point go? Down 2. And then from there, your rise over run, 3 over 2. So from here, you're going to go up 3 and over 2. Up 3, over 2. Or I could go down 3 and back 2. Oh, I totally missed one of my points. Sorry. All right, this is tomorrow's lesson. You will have homework tomorrow while I'm not here. Some things to practice that. Are we okay with graphing using slope-intercept form? Awesome.